Image, Jacka left by dancing my Maserati. Federal government ban sachet alcohol. Okay, so guys, it's how Una Dey with Christian, and this is how we roll every Monday to Friday. All right, so, and I'm having my guest, a comedian that you know. The party don't start right now. Ugly you. Oh, big good now, party my dear baby. Okay, so it's how Una Dey with Christian, and my guest today happened to be a renowned comedian, BABAKAY. BABAKAY. Hey, down, cool me, down, whoa, cool me down. Hey, the boss is there. Hey, buddy, hey, oh yeah, hey, buddy.
The boss.
Alpha, brotherly.
Brother loyal. Good afternoon.
I'm loyal to you. I'm loyal to your government. And are you the rain?
So boss, rain is falling actually. That's why the rain is falling outside.
I understand.
Yeah,
Talking about like say the rain. People like say because say the rain they fall for here too. Not only your side. And the whole Lagos.
You say now you the rain. I want to remind you say the rain they fall for outside. Just in case you are talking about loyal milk, I can make pap for you and put loyal milk inside that.
People like say they don't sponsor this your show. This is why they don't mention their name now.
Sometimes you don't come to meet them.
That's so. You know, pass
like I really appreciate
your network they break,
So my network will not break, sir. It's the weather.
It's the weather. Okay, that means if sun they shine, now like 4 bar. You saw the sign now 4 bar, where rain they fall now 2.
See, sir, my anger right now is the fact that we are not in May. We are not in May,
okay.
and the weather is affecting us like this. I don't know why May weather is not, I don't know.
Yeah. You don't day form. You don't day form, my day, yeah.
No, boss, I understand the fact that you are very busy. Like you are ready for you to honor this in a short time. I mean,
you're my guy. Anytime you call, I answer.
Bros, I know you. It has always been like that. You check my post on Instagram. I said always support it. That's the word. It's the truth. Thank you, sir. My prayer is that when you're able to gather for you, they will come.
Amen. Amen.
But so this show now for the title, we know too much. So now just small question of close and personal.
How my network be for your side? My own video side they break.
I dey hear you clearly. I dey see you clearly.
So that means that your own now, because your own now they pause in between. In fact, as I talk to you now, the thing they show circle, they buffer.
Are you
So
serious?
you feel talk something now.
Well.
If you be saying I start today morning, I go here and so.
Nice! Bros, off your mic. It's okay. Okay, Tom. All these years I've known you with the name BABAKAY. I remember the day in first start, MC White was supposed to be the MC. I think he traveled. So they now called me to come and host a concert on the street by
Yes.
Media.
Yes, CGR by Digit Sound. Yes, I think that should be. I can't remember. Maybe like 4 years ago.
Yes. So when they told me a comedian is in the house, please call him. They said his name is BABAKAY. My heart was in my hand.
Say what's happening.
Please God want to come and see my small shine. And indeed, you didn't fall my hand. You nailed it. I've never seen under your I've never passed under your umbrella and you didn't deliver. You always deliver. Bro.
That's because I don't move around with Rihanna.
Bro, you're killing me.
Mr. Form.
Yeah. You're form. Permanently don't start now. Check the thing today.
Yes. I'm telling you.
Yes. I will go beat Brighton. Yes.
You that okay? Yes, you be Chelsea fan. Yeah, today we go show them. You know, say they thought they say when we not buy players last season, they feel say we don't know what they do. They don't know say we they wait for them. We they wait for them. So today now we go show them.
Keep quiet too. Sometimes.
No, forget. I believe that team. If with small boys we fit enter fourth position last season, waiting with all this crop of new players where we get. What do you think? Now come on, we don't try. We don't try.
I'm sorry, Cherry. I'm so sorry about the network thing. I'm so sorry. I believe it to be better this time. Okay, so sorry about that. It's not my fault. It's network. Okay, all right. BABAKAY, you're an Ash, and you are a major person. You know much about timing and all that. I really respect that. In fact, when I called you 5 minutes ago, you said I'm ready waiting for you. That just tells me that you understand timing. You understand timing. Okay, so sir. BABAKAY is his stage name. What's your real name, sir?
My real name is Kingsley Isioma Nduboko.
Wait! Isioma!
A lot of people don't even know. A lot of people don't. I'm sure as you're hearing the name Isioma now, you are shocked. It's like, how?
You be my namesake. You be my namesake.
I'll be your namesake. So you be Isioma too. No wonder they connect. No wonder they connect.
We don't have makeup anywhere. Our good head is working for us.
Yes.
So, but where BABAKAY for coming now? Where BABAKAY for enter?
BABAKAY came in when I was in the university. My first year in the university, that was where the name came in. In fact, I always say, anytime I'm being interviewed like this, I wasn't the one who picked the name BABAKAY. First of all, I like people to know that I started my career as a music act in 1996. 1996, I started my career as a music act, and I was in a gospel a cappella group back then, where I was the leader of the group. So I've always been a musician. I've always been in the music field. So when I got to the university, I decided to study theater art in the university, and so it was in the process. I was studying theater art, and one of these days I walked into a group of guys. I was in 100 level then. I walked into two guys who were in 200 level, also in theater art department. They were singing, and they were putting parts together to really create the harmony for the song. And I just walked close to them. I just said, why not do it this way? Do it like this. And they looked at me because they've never seen me before. They looked at me and like, okay. And somehow they just decided to try it. My friend Ife and Happy, Ife is in Canada now, Happy is in Warri. They tried it and the thing blend. Bah! I can't put small voice. The thing scattered their head. And they shout, ba, 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 ba. And they just shouted at Baba jokingly, heal me for the contribution where I put for that song. And I left them. The next day, I got into this. I went to Delta State University, Abraka. I got into Campus 1, strolling, and they saw me from afar, and they just shouted, "Baba!" The other one holla, "K." And that was how the name stuck. So two of them, Happy and Efe, were the guys who started calling me BABAKAY, 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 because of that thing where I contribute to the song where they do at that time. And before you know, the whole school started calling me BABAKAY. No, in fact, I can't remember if there was a time in Delta State University where anybody called me Kingsley. I can't remember. All true, all true. And I was doing music then. I was a gospel act. I was going around different campuses in Nigeria performing as a gospel act, singing, doing a lot of things. And for every time I go to perform, they're calling me up on stage and they say, "Put your hands together for BABAKAY." People are shocked, like, BABAKAY. That name is a name for a comedian. It doesn't really rhyme for a gospel music act. You understand? But then I just didn't know. I just accepted the name like that, not knowing that later in future, because as of then I wasn't a comedian. Not knowing that later in future I was going to become a comedian, and that name was going to be the face or what will announce me as a comedian. So today, that name is what people know me as.
Wow, BABAKAY.
So that's why it takes stick.
So that's the thing. When you came into comedy, people didn't even notice that you are a singer. You started as a gospel artist. Now, first off, before I come to you, I need to pay attention to people who are saying something here. Jenna is saying something here. She said, this summer I was thinking the name is for female only. Shame on you! It's also a male.
I get that all the time when people say they think the name Isioma is for only females. No, Isioma is not for male alone. It's not for female. In fact, it's a name anybody can use. In fact, Isioma means good luck.
Yes.
Just like you call former President Goodluck Jonathan. In our language, Isioma means good luck. That's what it means. You understand? So it's just like you say, you now translate it in English and you start calling a woman good luck, or start calling anybody can use the name.
I was about, when you mentioned good luck, I was about telling you that it takes patience for good luck to make sense.
True.
Did I walk away? Not off my mic.
No, leave the mic. Leave it on. Leave the mic. As long as you don't leave me, leave the mic on.
Okay, so bro, you came from Delta, but what part of Delta?
Well, okay, I'm from Aniocha North local government area of Delta State. That's the Anioma speaking part of Delta, the Igbo speaking part of Delta State. That's where I am from. My mom and my dad are from the same village, and I was born there. In fact, I lived there major part of my life. I lived in Delta with my grandmom. In fact, a lot of things. In fact, if you see me, I lived with my grandmom where, so I know village life. Where forget this is how they do. I know village life.
Hold on. How come we have similar things? How come we have things in common?
Wait, what's happening? You live with your grandmother.
Grandma. For village,
anyone who live with their grandmother they always turn out well, like me. Yeah. Even my wife look one way. My brother carry him up. Carry him.
Okay, now this part I want to go into right now is the part where I used to tell my host or my guest that your story could be someone else's lesson. Yeah. So now we want to hear from how BABAKAY emanated, where was he coming from to where he is right now? How was the story like? How does he? Because someone is watching. Because after this show, we're gonna post it on YouTube. We're gonna be on Instagram. So I want you to just tell us, be honest with us, to tell us how you started the whole journey so far to where we are right now.
Yeah. My journey has been in different phases, and all through those different phases, there's been some form of evolution. They evolve over time. I go do one thing, after a while, I go evolve from that thing, enter another thing. Like I always say, from a very, very tender age, I knew what I was going to be in life. I had no doubt about what I was going to be. At the age of 7, I knew I was going to be an entertainer. But as young as I was then, I knew my calling was to stand in front of people and entertain people. And why I say that is because while I was in the village with my grandmom, I used to sit in front of my grandfather's house, and people will be walking by. As people are walking by, I go to use my language. They throw yab. They throw yab. As I they throw yab to people, where both old mama, old papa, everybody where they throw pass, I they yab them. As I they yab them, you go to see people for inside my house. The small boy is they go to wonder say where this small boy they learn all these things where they talk. And they yab them, people go they laugh. So because of that thing, what they do regularly, anytime people are walking past my grandfather's house, they go peep to look whether I sit down outside because you you get one man that they call you get one. I'm telling you, you get one man that they call Uncle Benji. I remember he'd always wear one papa's cap. He go they ride in bicycle, but the guy they always high. So I remember one year where I yabbed the guy one time. I say I yab for my native tongue. I say this one where they drive, this one where you don't high, make the bicycle no drive you. You understand? As small as I was then, as small as I was then, I remember that yab and everybody scatter. People they always like to sit down around this thing. You go the one that say how I take all this thing, but then my brain was that sharp, so I knew what I was doing. And but then I didn't know anything about comedy and whether later. But then people where they pass in front of my house that time, if I get one woman where they say she they sell, they get what they call uboka. Corn, this more where they take corn, they do. That's what she sells in the village. So if she they walk up past, she go check whether I did there. So to avoid make her know yaba, she go carry that more than use corn drop for where I did. Now she they take bribe me. So once she bribe me like that, I no go yaba, she go walk up past. So every afternoon I know that I get food to chop. So every afternoon I know that I get more where I go chop. As long as that woman go pass there, I must chop that moment because she must drop that moment so that I no go yab her. You understand? But so that was how it started for me. After a while, I moved to Lagos and got into school. I started doing a lot of things with NTA as when I was young. The young debaters, did something like that, or Under Five. You got one program they call Under Five then, Speak Out, and a lot of things I was doing as a young child. I was involving myself. In fact, I was representing my school, my nursery school, for debate competitions. I was representing my nursery school for English spoken competitions. Those were the things I used to develop myself over time until I got into secondary school.
James, I mean, who be this James first? Who be this Jenna? We say, oh, you cannot bribe.
Now bribe, oh, now bribe. I don't know, say that time self, say nature don't they train me or God don't they train me, say as you crack joke, then they pay you to crack joke. So moi was my first fee. So they pay me to take crack joke.
So did you pay tithe? Did you pay tithe?
Well, we didn't know anything about tithe that time. The tithe, they say my other aunties and my grandmom that they follow me chop from the moi, so now the tithe that they collect. So that the percentage with that.
Okay, so the year.
Hello.
They hear you.
Okay, so that was how it started until I got to secondary school. When I got to secondary school, I started a musical group called Divine Vessels. Over time, it changed to the Missionaries. We're a group of 6 guys who loved doing a cappella, and this is far dated back to 1996. We did the group for a couple of years until the year 2000 when the group broke up, and we're all in the university then. You understand? When I got to even before I went to the university, I worked with the Canadian agency and UNFPA for this youth series called I Need to Know. Back in the days, I was one of, then if you remember I Need to Know, Funke, that was one of the things that launched Funke Akindele. So I was one of the major characters in the second year. Wow. In fact, the 4th season, I think the 4th season of I Need to Know, I joined them and I played a character called Tade. In fact, coincidentally, I started playing a character among characters of 4 boys who were in a music group in the secondary school. You understand? So I brought in the music part into I Need to Know, and I played that character until the last season of I Need to Know. And so I Need to Know was the first major thing that launched me out. From I Need to Know, I acted with Wale Adenuga's This Life. You understand? A couple of them, and that was how I went on to the university to study theater arts.
Okay, don't worry. Somebody saying back Jane, Jenna. I mean, your name is confusing me. Jenna Berry. 2020. I don't understand. Babakay, you will sing small for us. I bet. Don't worry, we are getting there. Don't worry.
Sing,
Okay. So
I can't remember the last time I sang.
Baba, don't worry. So that level, so you may say, when you came to Lagos, you never, so you came into acting unplanned.
Yes.
Okay, because your focus was to think, always having in mind you want to stand in front of people to do stuff. But now, moving, and how was the connection?
The connection for
the movie, as in who brought about it?
Okay, then I remember then when I was in secondary school, I was in science class, but I was the only person in science class.
No wonder you brilliant.
Wait, never hear me first. I was the only person in science class who was in the drama club. All my mates were in the jet club. And you know that if you're in science class, you have to be in jet club. I was the first person that broke that protocol. I was in drama club, and it just didn't make sense. My teachers were always angry. They were like, how can you be in science class and you are now part of the drama club? You understand? But I loved drama, so I kept on. But it was through the process of acting with the drama club in my secondary school that I realized that science wasn't my thing. You understand? So, and my dad always wanted me to be a science person. He wanted me to be a medical doctor, or probably wanted me to be a lawyer. But I knew I wasn't called to do any of those two things. So, first term of SS3, I switched to arts class without telling my father that I switched from sciences. And that was how I wrote my SSCE as an arts student and went on to study theater arts in school. So, but before that time, in secondary school, I was always going to National Theater. I was always, anywhere that they do dramatic, anything we get to do with drama, I did go. I was always going to National Theater frequently to look for auditions, to join auditions so that I could act. I was in a drama club, not in school, outside school. In fact, I went to a theater school very early, a private theater school very early. So at that age, I was moving with the likes of senior people in the movie industry, the likes of Alexa Osifo, the likes of Larry Williams, a lot of, even the likes of Ada Ame, a lot of them. And funny enough, we're all in the same. Yeah, we're all in the same church as of that time. So, but then I was very young, but I looked up to them because they were my drama club, my drama group in church. So I was always excited to go to rehearsals in my drama group because of these veterans. And so because I was under them, I learned a lot. And so one of those days that I was looking for auditions, then remember that during this time there was no Facebook, there was no Facebook, there was no he must feature.
I was going to mention you, but why did you come up now?
He must feature.
I've never seen the one of the comedian that supports you the way she supports you. Mama, I got my hand. No, seriously, you are one of the best supporters ever. Like ever. I owe you something, but not be now. Don't see, relax.
Where you owe the thing? This always say you owe something, but not be now. And so Buhari promised us so. Indo, I see you. Yeah, you understand. So it was through that process. Thank you, babe. It was through that process. One of those days, I decided to go to. I heard that they were doing audition for singers to do the soundtrack for "I Need to Know."
Okay.
Yes, we heard that they were doing audition for singers to do the soundtrack for "I Need to Know." So me and my group members in the a cappella group that I formed then, we decided to go for that audition. That audition was held at Swift Studios, number 9, Oba Akran, Ikeja. I remember it very well. Yeah, just immediately after. Swift Studios, number 9, Oba Akran. So we went because we wanted to be auditioned to do the soundtrack for "I Need to Know." So when we got there, we saw the crowd. The crowd was massive. They came to audition to act, but we came to audition to sing. And somehow we thought they were going to allow us enter as a group. We didn't know that they were calling in people individually, one by one. And so when it was time, we said we wanted to go in as a group. They said no, that we have to go in individually, that we needed to sing individually. And all our life we've only sang as a group, as an a cappella group. So then it was terrible, but somehow we had to now go in one by one. And so I went in first. And when I went in first, they told me to. They said, "What did you come to audition for?" I said, "I came to audition to sing." They said, "Sing." I sang. The director there, Lloyd Weaver, a white man who has lived in Nigeria all his life. The director then was Mr. Kola Davis, Paul Emema, and Lloyd Weaver. They were the three directors who were also auditioning us then. And so I stood in front of them, I sang. They liked it, and they said, "Wow, that is good." They said, "From the way, can you act?" I said, "Why not? That I'm in a drama club." So they gave me a script, and I read the script and I acted it out, and they were stunned, and they just whispered to themselves. I thought they were whispering that I didn't do well. You understand? I thought they were whispering that I didn't do well. So they just said, "All right, we'll get back to you," which is the normal line you hear anytime you go for job interview or you go for an audition. "We'll get back to you." And I don't hear that line well, so I don't feel say nothing will happen. Yeah. So they now said everybody that's auditioned should hang around. Nobody should go. That after the audition, they were going to paste the list of all the people that qualified for the audition. So I and my group members said they could not go into audition to act, that is singing that they came in for, and since they didn't want us to come in as a group, that they are no longer interested. So my other group members left. I didn't know that was destiny calling me, so I waited back to see if I was going to be chosen. So at the end of the day, around 6 p.m., they brought out the list of everybody who qualified or who made it through the audition and pasted. And so we were all, because I was scared, there was a list of 15 characters that they chose. Because I was scared, I started looking for my name from number 15. Normally, you go check from number 1, go down. But because I was scared, I wasn't going to make it. I started checking for my name from number 15. I check, reach number 3. I don't see my name. From my mind, I say, if my name no dey number 3, or why my name go dey number 2 or number 1? And luckily for me, as I moved up, my name was number 2.
Wow.
And that was how my name was number 2. And that was how I got into I Need to Know that year. And I was with them for the last 3 years of the last seasons of I Need to Know. So that's basically my journey all through.
Your journey from Lagos, from village to Lagos, and
yes, from village to Lagos.
Do you count it to be a quantum leap from the village to Lagos, from Delta to Lagos? Do you see that as a blessing?
Yes, I did.
Oh, yes. Okay. I need to be sure, because this thing, like, let me just say I did Jari, maybe like say, you understand? Okay, let me see
what did I do for village. I wasn't doing anything. The funny thing, like I was discussing with my wife some time ago, I said, in the village, I was giving birth to in the village, and yes, a lot of people know I'm physically challenged. I wasn't born that way.
I was going there. Why you asking my question?
I know. No worry. I just so that make I save you this. You know, say me say a broadcaster, we know the questions where they come. So maybe so I wasn't born this way, but then polio came in along the line because of a careless nurse who used a syringe that's been used for somebody that has polio, and that was how I got polio. And that polio made me, how do I put it? It's one of the most terrible moments. But because of that situation, I don't want to use the word hospitalized. I was crippled. And when I mean crippled, I was crippled. I couldn't walk. I couldn't use from my waist down. I couldn't walk. So I was only moving with my butt on the floor. That happened for about 7 years. And then I wasn't living with my parents because of the situation. My parents had to leave me with my grandmom so that my grandmom could teach me. Say mama them, they know all these things. They know the native medicine, where they're going to use. So my mom and my dad left me with my grandmom to teach me, why my dad and my mom were in Lagos. So by then I had not been in Lagos. I'd never been to Lagos. So I was in the village. But as I was in the village, I've never seen a car. I don't even know what a car means. That's to tell you where the remote part of the world that I did that time. The first time I saw a car in my life, I could not fathom it. I could not understand how something in that box. So for a child at that age who had never seen a car, who had never seen express road. I was just confined to one small position in my village because of the situation I was at that time. But as it was, I was also always asking myself some very inquisitive questions like, how is the world outside here? Do people move? Do people run? A lot of questions I was asking myself, but I knew there was more to life, but I did not know how to get there. I knew my parents were living in the city, but I did not know how the city looked like. I don't know what happens in the city. I have never been to one, but I could imagine how the city would look like. When people come from Lagos then and they're telling us stories, they tell us about how they entered car. I'd never seen a car. You understand? So I was always imagining how a car will look like, how you will sit inside. And those were the things that propelled me to tell myself that I was going to leave this place one day. But mind you, I never began waka. So, but I had the mind that I was going to leave. But the question is, how are you going to live if you are not walking with your two legs? So even at that time, I believed that I was going to walk by any means. And I was going to leave my village and come to a better place that will expose me because I knew I had more. And fast forward to 2020, we're here now.
Okay.
What's happened?
I didn't tell. I don't know you know you follow me. I'm a very emotional person, yeah.
Okay. My brother. It's part of us for Isioma. That's the way we are.
Yeah. The first time I got to see you when I was on your wedding day, McCarthy. Yeah, McCarthy called me then I was driving, yeah. So he called me that there's one comedian that is getting married at Texas that I should drive him down, and so that's how we left to Festac. I think I was supposed to be having a meeting, a clientele meeting somewhere around Festac. I was okay, let's go now. Mark, I drop you, so we go. When I got there,
Oscar P, I see you.
I saw comedians. I thought, like, oh, let me just say now. And I thought, oh, BABAKAY. Oh, this is BABAKAY. Oh, okay. I discovered that you are not working, and I was like, okay. Because in my head, I thought a normal human being will leave somebody who is disabled.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's one reason why when I say I owe your wife, I know what I'm talking about.
I understand.
I go see him, I go talk.
Yeah.
So we allow something to just fly, but we have it in heart. So I was about to ask you, how were you able to be accepted in the industry we find ourselves? Because I know this is not what you bargained for. You didn't plan this, and you find yourself in this, and it's taking you places, and it's exposing you. And I don't want to talk about the people who are trying to act stupid in terms of trying to challenge you.
Don't worry about that.
I will take it personal because we're supposed to be carrying money and say, Baba, take.
Exactly.
Because, we know what it means to be like. We don't know what it means, but we have an idea.
Yeah.
You understand? So trying to drag something with you, it's like we don't have it. You understand? So how was it like for you to be accepted, even with your condition?
Well, the truth is, I was never accepted really in the industry. That's the truth, and I'm going to be honest, because at this point I don't even care if anybody feel bad. The truth was that I was never really accepted per se. When I was in the university, I wasn't a stand-up comedian. I was a musician, and I was an MC. I was singing gospel music, and I was being paid to sing in different campus fellowship around school and outside school. That was how I was raising money for myself to sustain myself in school. But at the same time, I was a theater arts student. So, but when I left the university and I proceeded to go serve in the north, I served in Yobe State. It was in Yobe State, Damaturu precisely. I served with the Council for Arts and Culture. It was in Yobe State that I discovered comedy. And I discovered comedy in the most unconventional way, the most strange way. You understand? It was life in Yobe as a core member then was terrible. I was living, in fact, I was dead broke that I didn't have where to stay. A copper who was ahead of me passed out, left NYSC, and he still had 2 months remaining in his rent. And so I pleaded for him to continue living in his house for the next 2 months after he had left NYSC. And the house wasn't a very fantastic house. the roof was leaking. Anytime it rains, you see different parts of the roof leaking. So I had like 6 buckets strategically positioned in different parts of the house, so that the rain could build the bucket could build the water. Yes, it's like it sounded like a joke, but it's the truth. And so in that room, I positioned buckets in different parts of the house as a core member in Damaturu then. And so one night it was raining heavily. I woke up around 2 a.m. and I noticed that my room was flooded. So I had to build the water out, and I positioned the bucket, and the bucket, the rain can drop for different parts. As it drop, I just laugh myself. Which kind of life is this? Now out of pity for myself, as that thing they drop, I laugh myself. They say, "Oh God, if anybody, my mama or my friends for Lagos see me now, they go laugh me die." Like I said, they can't serve. But which kind of life is this? And it was a very terrible situation, but at the same time, it made me laugh. I laughed at myself, and somewhere it stopped around 5 a.m. It was on a Saturday night against Sunday morning, so I dressed up and I went to church. The church then was Winners, and I was the president, corpus president for Winners Fellowship. So I got to church that morning, and they were doing a program, and they said they needed an MC. And I said, I did do MC work. They can't say, okay, we do something called Niger Delta Day. And so they gave me the mic to anchor. And the first thing I said was the situation that happened that night. The rain and the bucket I positioned. And it was funny. Because it was real life, I narrated it the way it happened. As I was narrating my ordeal last night, the entire church was laughing. Everybody, they fall off. They laugh, but they don't know what they talk not true. You understand? And after that's why I take tear as we talk comedians that day. And after that day, after church closed, my pastor Aldo Johnson, called me to his office and said, "Young man, this thing you do today, do you know it can be your career? Why not give it a shot?" And it was more like the voice of reasoning and the voice of God talking to me at the same time. And I said, okay. And that was how I picked up comedy. And I started doing comedy in Damaturu, Yobe State, a Sharia state that did not encourage anything that had to do with entertainment. And I was doing comedy round. I was the first youth corper that did a comedy show in Damaturu. And I brought comedians, youth corper comedians from Maiduguri and other states who saw me on Facebook, and they came to support me. And that was how my comedy career kicked off. After service, I came to Lagos.
So not even in Lagos?
No, it was in Yobe State too. So that was how my career.
No, leave that one.
God no go shame us. God no shame us. So I now came to Lagos, and Lagos was like a mighty ocean. I was like in the middle of the mighty ocean, not knowing where to swim to or where to start from. You understand? Okay. I didn't know the so-called popular comedians because all my life I've been an actor or a musician. Comedy was entirely new to me, and at least in Lagos, it was new to me. I wasn't exposed. And so I went on Facebook, and I started chatting up a lot of comedians on Facebook. Because I had gone to several shows. In fact, I can't remember. I would never forget my first experience in stand-up Nigeria, where I performed, and a senior colleague laughed at me because I fumbled. It was my first major stage. A senior colleague that I don't want to mention his name now laughed at me when he picked up the mic and said, "Wow." He said,
"Name. You call him so."
Now MC Abe, they go beat me. Okay, if you say they won't beat me. MC Abe laughed at me. But I normally when we comedians they do, we go just yab ourselves. But he yabbed me that day. But he didn't know that yab that he yabbed me made me. I went backstage, I cried, and I told myself, I said, I must make up for this comedy industry because of that yab. And so that yab I took home, and I went home. I started working on myself. And funny, my first comedy show in Lagos, because of that yab that MC Abe yabbed me, I invited him to my first comedy show. And MC Abe said, if I go come, because then I stay at Blushing, but I agree before you Ojo area. And MC Abe said, if I go come, you go fuel my car. I said, how much to fuel your car? He said, 30K. He said, okay. Saying go come. So my first comedy show, MC Abe, Apororo, Egos, I'd known Igos in Delta State University. Igos was in Uniben, but he normally come to Delta State University to do shows as a comedian then, so we know. So, but then in Lagos, Igos have started working with Wazobia FM, and when MC Abe was coming to my show, he came with Igos. And Igos performed, Akororo performed, Elder O performed, MC Shaggy performed. And after the show, I went to meet MC Abe with my envelope. With this MC Abe said, no, don't worry. We'll just come support you, be our own. And he tapped me. And that, for me, that was the biggest encouragement. He didn't collect that certificate that he asked for. And that was how the whole thing kicked off for me. Now, the reason I did my show was because I'd gone to several shows and nobody gave me a platform. The first thing they will look at me is the way I'm looking. Yeah, they look at my condition and they're like, what in this one want to do? And I kept on going to shows and nobody from myself. And that was how I came about my first show called EFCC. When I coined that name EFCC, a lot of people was asking me what EFCC means, but at the end of the day, I made them understand that EFCC means extremely funny comedy concerts, which was my first show, and a lot of people came. I did it in church and a lot of people came. So that was my comedy career started, and I started going from place to place, started meeting comedians. Even till now, there are times, so when to answer your question, where you say how have I been accepted in the industry? I've never really been accepted. And because I know where I'm coming from the days I was in the village where I was crippled and I couldn't walk, and I knew that if I could get up from that place and I'm where I am today, that nobody can discourage me in life, I always create my platform. That's the way I am. If you don't give me that platform, I go create them for myself. As long as I say the brain day. There's something my bishop used to say those days. He say, take everything I have, throw me in the desert, give me my Bible, I will reproduce. I've always believed that thing. Take everything where you say if you take from me, just leave me and God. Leave me and God. And now when my wife join plus my mama, I go reproduce. I will reproduce. So you know get anything where you want do me, where go shake me. I don't see failure. I don't chop them. I don't get to the point where we say I don't get anything. I don't get to the point where we say I know they move. My life I don't feel begin count all the things, but bottom line, we say everything that happened to me for my life now, waiting God teach me to become the person. That's why when any comedian they do show, the reason why I go support them because I know what it be for me that time when nobody support me or when nobody give me platform. So if any comedian told me, Baba, I do show, I go because you don't know what's in that thing. That your presence where if you say no mean anything, you don't know what it feel mean to that person. Babe, help me with my face towel. You don't know what in that thing feel mean to people. So if comedians call me, I go encourage them. So my brother, so far that's been my journey. Nobody encouraged me. I encouraged myself, and I've been So that's how it is.
I've been doing this show for over 3 months now, and today's own is just I interviewed Bonus on Thursday. I cried because when he shared his story, I cried. He was crying and I cried. You know, someone else, another lady who was molested over the years by her own parents and other people because she needs to survive. You know, I've heard stories, you know, but today is another one again that is just killing me right now. You know, I equally have my own personal stories as well, but I thought I had the most serious and horrible story. But listening to you right now, it's like, guy, be thankful. Be thankful.
True. Be thankful for everything. Be thankful.
BABAKAY, I don't know for you now. Okay, let's move it towards the time when you enter into media. How did it happen for Wazobia? Because you became more popular when you came into when you got the job from Wazobia. How did that happen?
No, that's not true. I like to say that I didn't become more popular when I came to Wazobia. I became popular because when Facebook started, I knew how to use Facebook. Just like how people use Instagram now. I was very popular on Facebook. I go buggy for Facebook. As in, when people didn't know what it meant to be a blogger. I was blogging regularly on Facebook, but I didn't know it was called blogging. As in, I was practically living on Facebook because I needed my face to be out there. So this funny part was that there were shows I went to in those days where they will introduce me, and people will say, I know him. You go to say they don't see me for TV, na lie, na Facebook.
That Facebook, yeah.
Now, Facebook, a lot of people don't see me. A lot of people, in fact, a lot of comedians I never met one-on-one. In fact, that my show that I did, I had never met Akpororo. I only met Akpororo online on Facebook. I DM'd him, and that time Akpororo never blew. He came.
Yes.
Shaggy came because I met him on Facebook. MCRB came because I met him on Facebook. Jedi came because we met on Facebook and a lot of things. You understand? So Facebook, but then Wazobia now made it more, gave me more advantage because now I was an OAP and I was regular on radio. I was talking and the name had opportunity. So but most times I don't like to say that Wazobia was known. I don't build that. I don't build that.
But when you called or you went for audition or how did it happen?
My brother, I've never been called for anything. Like I say, I try to make a way for myself. If people close the door, when I finished university, the year I finished university was the year Wazobia started. You understand? So from that year where Wazobia started, as I came back to Lagos, the year I finished university, I heard Wazobia for the first time, and I fell in love with the station. And I said, this is where I want to work. I like this. The first time I heard Pidgin broadcasting, I said, now here I want to walk. Now here I want to walk. You understand? And then it was Wazobia and Cool FM. And every morning they were advertising that Wazobia was looking for OAPs. So, and they said, send your CV. I started sending my CV. From the year 2007 to the year 2013, when I started working in Wazobia, I was sending my CV every week. I was sending my CV every week. From the year 2007 to 2013, I was sending my CV, and I never got a call from Wazobia. You understand? So now something now happened. Super Sport was doing a reality TV show for Pidgin English commentators. And so I went for that Super Sport. It was called Follow Your Mouth. I went for that Pidgin English commentator reality TV show put together by Super Sport. They were looking for commentators to do Pidgin commentary for Nigerian local football league. And so I went. And luckily for me, I got to the final. We were two that got to the final. The guy is now, he's just started working in Wazobia recently now as a Pidgin English broadcaster to Timmy Owoye. We got to the final, and somehow I lost in the final. The guy won it and became the face of that Pidgin.
Hold on, sir. Do you know Gucci?
Yes, in first time.
You told me, Baba, your boy need work. Which work you got again now? You are working already.
No mind DJ Gucci. No mind. No mind. You don't see Gucci van where they take carry equipment. You say you need work. This one when you talk now, say me employ me as the driver. I'm going to drive that van for a go show. You say
oh my Gucci, take time more.
You understand? So I didn't make it. I got to the final, but I didn't win. Timmy won. In that show, one of the judges of that show was Nedu. And Nedu was working with Wazobia that time. So Nedu was, in fact, everybody felt I should have won that competition, but I did not win. And people were very angry. So Nedu walked up to me and said, "No worry, Baba. Then Shebi now Joro then do. I go do something. No worry. I will go work out something." So I was calling Nedu regularly. I said, "Baba, how far? Work on the Wazobia. I won't join you." He said, no worry. I go do something. But because of that, my first show that I did, that I brought MCRB and Egos came. Yeah. I kept a relationship with Egos from that time. So one day, Egos called me and said, "Babakay, you go like work for Wazobia. They find newscaster." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Where you did?" I said, "I did Keja with Odogu." He said, make una dey come. Now, so me and Odogu take drive, go VI. As we reach VI, now Egos say, they look for newscasters. So you go like read news for Pidgin English. I said, no problem. That's how I went in. So as I was sitting for my turn to go in for them to interview me, to become a Pidgin English news broadcaster, Nedu came down from staircase and saw me and like, Babakay, what did they do here? I said, I come for interview. Immediately he walked into the office where they were doing the interview. He said, this guy good. This guy do something for Super Sport. I for win. This guy good for Pidgin English. Wanna take her. So Nedu put in a word. And that was how the people who were interviewing me that time, my HOD, Madam Esther, and some other people then decided to pick me, and that was how I started working with Wazobia FM. So the two people that influenced that, apart from God, was Nedu and Egos. That was how I started working with Wazobia FM.
Okay. So you worked with them for how many years?
I worked with Wazobia from that end of 2013. I got the job in 2013, but started in 2014, a year before I got married. So from 2014 till this year.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't want to start asking questions about what happened, why you left, and all that. That's a story for another day.
No, my brother asked if you don't fear anybody. Now, nobody will beat me again for this industry.
Okay. So,
say nobody.
Okay. So what really happened? Why did you leave?
What happened? Like I say, people don't give me platforms, but when I create the platform, the platform turns out to become good. And when it becomes good, people are shocked, because most times people give you something, give you responsibility, but expecting you to fail. You understand? That's how some people are like that. They put certain level of responsibility in your hand, and they expect you to fail. I've been doing news in Wazobia for a very long time, and I was also doing sports with Eagles and a lot of things. And after a while, I got tired of doing news, and I said I needed to do something more. And my CEO approached me one of these days. He said, "No, James, the white guy, the CEO of Wazobia Cool FM manager," and said, "I know you can do more. Why are you deciding to crawl when you can run?" I didn't understand. He spoke in parable. I didn't understand. He said, "Why are you deciding to crawl when you can run?" I said, "Sir," I looked at my leg. He said, "No, I don't mean I mean you can do more." Because you understand. You understand? I was shocked because I was wondering why you going to talk that kind of thing. He said, "No, I don't mean your leg. I mean you. I've seen you. I know you can do more. I've seen you perform on stage. You are very good. Your style of comedy is different. Why don't you do more?" I said, "Okay." So I said, "When you're ready to do something more than news, come see me in my office." That was what my CEO said. We're doing our Wazobia FM Carnival then. That day of the Wazobia FM Carnival, as I just got down from stage after I killed the show, that was when he told me that stuff. So the following week, I went to see him in his office and I told him, "Sir, you said I should see you." He said, "Yes, that he knows I can do some more. He knows I'm a comedian. Why not create a show?" I said, "Well, if I want to do a show, I'd like to do a radio show that has to do with comedy." He said, "Okay, good. Meet with the program director." The program director is Twale. And so I met with Twale and discussed about a comedy show. And Twale, this was in January. And from January, the program director, Twale, didn't say anything until August. I was in my house July. I was in my house one Sunday afternoon. I was asleep. I woke up. I saw a text message, a WhatsApp message. "Babakay, make we see tomorrow. That thing where you talk, that comedy show where you say you go like do on radio, you go still want do one." Because he's my program director. I said, "Why not? It's okay. Let's see tomorrow in the office," which was on a Monday. And I saw him. And that was how Wazobia FM Comedy Club came into being. And we started Wazobia FM Comedy Club. I took the company to Tatiana Hotel, and there was an agreement, and we started. And for the 4 months that I do Wazobia FM Comedy Club, it was massive. Everybody who had been to Wazobia FM Comedy Club when I was doing it knew it was massive. But then, as it was getting bigger, jealousy grew. And I'm saying this because at this point, I'm not saying anybody. This is the first time I'm really going to say it. And I've held back a lot of things, and I just feel it's time to let it go. So I should say it so that I don't go hold anybody for my mind, and I go let her. And so it was growing bigger and bigger. And at a time, I started having issues with Twale. The issues were that Twale is somebody that he's power drunk. And my brother, like I said, I know sin. Twale is power drunk. He wants to oppress, and he wants everybody to know that he's in charge. I believe that if you're a leader, you don't have to announce yourself.
Oh, he was the HOP.
Yeah, he's still the HOP till date. So he was the HOP, and so he was using it to intimidate everybody, all the OAPs in Wazobia FM, because he became the head HOP. He was doing it. In fact, Twale will call me on the phone. He's a married man, and I'm a married man, and he will tell me, "Babakay, shut up. You are very stupid." Somebody where not going to pay my salary. You understand? You just be HOP. But that was how issue started, and he started feeling like he won't collect this. He went around telling people that he created the comedy club. Nobody created the idea. He was sending emails, and I just got to office one day after a successful comedy club we did on a Friday, and the show was massive, and the company name was growing bigger. He just said, "Babakay, you're not going to do this thing again." I said, "What's happened?" He said, "No worry now. This other person going to do him now." And I said, "Okay, no problem." So I left it. So that was why I stopped.
The person I know.
You said?
The person I know.
I don't hear what you talk. The line they break.
I said the same person where I know.
Yes, now, yes, the same person where you know. No, don't worry. You understand? So that was how the issue between I and Twale continued from last year. Twale was looking for everywhere. In fact, he went on telling people that he created the concept Wazobia FM Comedy Club. Babakay is not the geologist, is not this and that, which we know is a lie, bloody lie. Bloody lie. You understand? But all these things were born out of jealousy, and all these things is born out of somebody who is power drunk and intoxicated with power, always wanting to oppress people. You understand? And he didn't hide it in trying to make my life a living hell while I was there, because it was the HOP and we are all answerable to him. And he continued between October last year until January this year. You know, as the HOP, he will start giving recommendations for who is doing well and who is not doing well, and he just kept on going around and telling. I just was in my office one, but before then I got tired with the whole situation, and I made up my mind that I wanted to resign, and I needed to do more. In fact, I told myself that I don't want to begin to call my age, or don't call my wife. Don't want to make I call my age, but I told myself that when I get to a certain age this year, that there are a lot of things I want to stop, and I want to. But I won't do a lot of. So I had already made up my mind that I want to resign, and so for one reason or the other, he too was also plotting that they should sack me. Yeah, that was what he was doing. So, and which is not a reasonable thing to do. Where I know say God go see fight the battle, he was doing it, and in fact he went to different means. In fact, he went as far as telling them to take me out of the news department so that he could replace another person in my position as a newscaster and all that. And I knew the drama was getting too much, and I knew it was time to leave. And that's how I left.
Babakay. Yeah. See God there, Bible says something that I can't forget. That he that watcheth over Israel neither sleep nor
slumber. Yeah.
So I believe that God got you.
Yeah.
I know they want to express myself. You see me everywhere. No, but sorry to say, it's not pride. I will survive. I will eat where past many of them.
Yeah.
So it's great, not by power, not to say upon the past. No, great. That same grace is working for you, boss. So you know what? Time don't go. We need to time don't go. We need to talk more. Please, plenty. I know. You understand? Because I know when I interview on class, they call names, they hit the name. I say, bros, I beg. He said, no, I will stop.
No, that's why I tell you, say, when if this, because now Wazobia won't talk, this is not the first time I really come outside, won't let people know, because for a long time I was hurting, and you understand, I see, there's a point you get to your life where you know that you are struggling. Like when I made that video about the issue I had with Sam, I said, for this industry, nobody, they give me platform. And I mean, they create the platform for myself. And when I create the platform, in most cases, that platform go blossom and people go, one come chop from them. You understand? The issue between I and Osam, make I just go there. I expect to say Osam is a senior man for the industry. And when that thing won't happen, normally Osam supposed to recommend us.
They pay me, say I get like 1 minute more to go.
You understand? Normally now Sam suppose they recommend us for the industry. Say, I get one boy where I go send to now, make do something. But you were supposed to recommend us now. Sam no say I don't come up for Wazobia FM. You understand? He knew, he told me. And he knows say this work where they do for Tatiana Hotel as the comedy club where they do, because after the issue with Twale, when I come up for Wazobia FM, they wanted to do the comedy club and it flopped. They couldn't do it again. That's how you know that he wasn't not being create the idea, because if now you create the idea, you go feel continue. The month, that October when I stopped, when they tried to do the show flopped. And he decided to change the name from Comedy Club to Comedy Hangout, which is ongoing right now. And they know that nonsense that they do. They know, you understand? And I continued and I changed the name to Comedy Sanctuary. And my Comedy Sanctuary blew into another level. You understand? So Comedy Sanctuary now became my own.
Thank you. Time is gone. Thank you. I had fun.